After 12 years of teaching overcrowded classrooms with 45 children and working 70-hour weeks, the new school director decided to cut costs, starting with my salary. "Just business, nothing personal," he said, offering me a 45% pay cut. I smiled politely, declined, and gave my notice. The panic in his eyes when. "Starting next semester, we'll be restructuring compensation," Mr. Carroll said, sliding a stapled packet across his polished desk. "To keep the school financially healthy, your salary will be reduced by 45%. Financially healthy, your salary will be reduced by 45%. Nothing personal, just business." I sat perfectly still, though the words hit like a blow to the chest. After 12 years of teaching overcrowded classrooms of 45 children, running after-school tutoring programs, supervising weekend workshops, though the words hit like a blow to the chest. After 12 years of teaching overcrowded classrooms of 45 children, running after-school tutoring programs, supervising weekend workshops, and often working 70 hours a week just to give those kids the education they deserved, my reward was a nearly half-cut paycheck. Just business. I smiled politely and folded my hands in my lap. "Thank you for the information," I said. My voice sounded calm, even casual, but I could feel my pulse thrumming in my throat. "When will this take effect?" "Immediately," he replied, straightening his tie with the same mechanical motion he used whenever he pretended to be confident. "We expect all staff to sign the updated contract by Friday. This brings your compensation closer to industry standards for your experience level." Industry standards. That was rich. I had been at Evergreen Primary since graduating from college. I'd built entire programs, mentored dozens of new teachers, written curriculum for 3 grades, and managed behavioral support plans when the district psychologist was overloaded. Parents requested me by name. Children who had grown up and moved to the middle school still stopped by my classroom to hug me after dismissal. But to him, I was a line item on a spreadsheet. "I appreciate the heads up," I said, rising slowly. "I'll have my answer for you by Friday." "Excellent," he replied, already reaching for another file. "And Melanie, try not to worry. Most of the staff will accept the new contract. I'm sure you will, too." I nodded once, not trusting myself to speak. Then I walked out before he could say anything else to disguise his greed as organizational necessity. When I stepped into the hallway, the sound of children laughing from the playground washed over me. Normally, it comforted me. Today, it felt like a reminder of everything I'd given that man the power to undervalue. 12 years, thousands of hours, hundreds of students, and he'd reduced all of it to just business. As I headed toward my classroom, I spotted Nora, our school secretary for nearly 15 years, standing by the copier, her expression tight. She looked up when she saw me. "You, too?" she whispered. I nodded. She exhaled shakily. "Mine is a 30% cut. They told the custodial team yesterday. Some of them are losing hours. He's gutting this place from the inside out." I leaned closer. "Has the district approved this?" "The district doesn't care," she murmured. "He's technically within policy as long as he claims budget necessity. But the truth, enrollment's up. Our funding increased this year." My jaw tightened. So, he wasn't saving the school. He was padding the numbers for the board, making the books look good so he could push for a district promotion. I'd suspected it, but hearing it confirmed was a different kind of sting. "What are you going to do?" she asked softly. I looked toward my classroom, where the work I'd poured myself into filled the walls. Student essays, art projects, the reading corner I'd built myself from donated furniture. "I'm not signing anything," I said quietly. Her eyes widened. "Melanie, you've been here longer than anyone except Mrs. Parker. Are you sure?" "I am," I said. That afternoon, I taught my class as if nothing had happened. I greeted every student at the door, reviewed fractions, led group discussions, mediated a conflict between 2 boys who both wanted to feed the class turtle, and helped one of my reading level strugglers write his first full paragraph without letting frustration swallow him whole. Teaching grounded me. It reminded me of everything worth fighting for and everything the new director had absolutely no understanding of. During dismissal, one of my students, Ava, tugged on my sleeve. "Miss Hill, will you still be here next year? My mom said the new man in the office is making big changes." Her eyes were wide, anxious, 8 years old and already worried about the adult politics swirling around her. I crouched down to her level. "I'll always care about you," I said gently. "And I'm not going anywhere just yet." Her relief made my chest ache. After the building emptied and the halls fell silent, I sat at my desk, staring at the glowing spreadsheet of grades I'd stayed late to update. The irony wasn't lost on me. Even today, after being insulted to my face, I was still working past contract hours. But tonight was different because as I sat there in that dimly lit classroom, a clarity settled over me. I had accepted too little for too long. I had absorbed every extra task, every last-minute meeting, every student meltdown, Every late-night email from anxious parents, every responsibility that wasn't technically mine but always fell on my plate. And they thought they could cut my salary by nearly half because they assumed I wouldn't walk away. At 6:12 p.m., I opened a blank document and drafted my resignation letter. Simple, professional, and dated for Friday morning. When I printed it, the paper felt heavier than it should have. Final. Certain. I slid it into a manila envelope and tucked it into my bag. On Friday, I planned to hand that envelope to Mr. Carroll with the same polite smile I had given him earlier, but the moment he read it, when he realized what my departure would unleash, I knew the panic on his face wouldn't be polite at all. And I was right. But that part of the story comes later. For now, the first domino had officially been placed. By Friday morning, the building felt different. The halls were noisy as usual, but beneath the chatter, there was a tension humming through the staff. Everyone sensed something unsettled beneath the surface, though no one dared name it aloud. I arrived early, envelope in hand, and unlocked my classroom before the sun had fully risen. Setting the envelope on my desk, I stood there for a moment, absorbing the room I had shaped over 12 years, the reading corner, the math station, the wall of student goals. It all felt both familiar and distant, like a place I loved and a place I was already leaving. At 7:45, I headed toward the office to deliver my notice. The hallways were still mostly empty, but a few teachers were congregated near the coffee station, whispering in low tones. When they saw me, the conversations abruptly stopped. They weren't being rude. They were waiting. Word had spread that I was the one person who might refuse the pay cuts. Nora watched me approach, her hands tightly clasped around her mug. "You're doing it today?" she asked. "Yes." She gave a solemn nod. "Good luck." I pushed open the director's door just as Mr. Carroll finished a phone call. He hung up, straightened a stack of folders, and offered a practiced corporate smile. "Morning, Melanie. Ready to sign your updated contract? I'm actually here to give you this." I placed the envelope on his desk. He frowned and opened it immediately. His eyes scanned the page, and I watched the color drain slowly from his face. "You're resigning?" "Yes. My final day will be 2 weeks from today." This is unexpected." He shifted in his chair, clearly thrown off balance. "Surely, we can negotiate. The pay adjustment is standard. Most teachers understand the necessity. I've made my decision." He leaned forward. "If this is about the percentage, we can review it. Perhaps a smaller reduction for senior staff." "It's not about percentages," I said. "It's about principle." He closed his mouth, clearly not expecting that answer. Before he could respond, a knock interrupted us. It was Mrs. Parker, the oldest teacher on staff. Her expression was tight, and she carried a stack of attendance reports. "Is this a bad time?" she asked. Carroll forced a stiff smile. "Actually, yes. We're in the middle of." "It's fine," I said. "I was just leaving." I turned and walked out, but not before seeing the panic.